Moe, Larry, and Curly have been raised by kindly nuns in an orphanage. But when the Diocese decides to close their home, they snap into action. The three must figure out a way to raise the money and keep the orphanage alive in The Three Stooges.
Okay.
We're here to talk about The Three Stooges.
The Three Stooges.
The Three Stooges.
Oi freaking vey! I have to admit, when I heard that this movie was being made, I was angry.
What's the idea?
Why?
Because there were so many ways that this movie can be screwed up.
It's true.
Absolutely.
True.
And so, since we are here to talk about The Three Stooges, I guess we don't even have to do the review. I have a feeling I know where you guys are
That's
going
our
with this
review
movie.
right there.
That's it.
We'll just do it purely based on sound
That's it.
effects.
David, Salim, you have
Just seen it.
I have just seen it.
just seen it. Tell us about it.
Oh, God.
Well, we have to start with the most important part, which is the story.
Absolutely.
It's the most important part of the movie.
It's the most important part.
Of a Three Stooges movie?
Yeah, it's basically the Blues Brothers story.
They're thrown on the doorstep of an orphanage as babies, and of course, shenanigans ensue.
And now it's present day. They're all like 35 years old, and they're still living at the orphanage
Exactly.
and causing total mayhem. And what happens is that the Archbishop of the Diocese comes and says, listen, we're out of money. We have to close the orphanage unless you get us $830,000. And these guys wouldn't know how to scrape 2 pennies together. So that's essentially the plot.
Exactly.
The plot isn't important here because it's all about The Three Stooges.
Exactly.
Okay.
Interestingly, about the plot, it's actually broken up into 3 sections or 3 episodes.
3 distinct episodes, and that was a big concern for me, is that the original Three Stooges shorts were just that. They were under 10-minute shorts. And I was wondering, how are they gonna sustain this kind of comedy for an hour and a half?
Exactly.
The Farrelly brothers, who wrote and directed this movie, did a brilliant job. Like Salim said, they break it up into 3 distinct acts.
In the second act, it slumps a little bit, but that's to be expected in a movie. It's supposed to be a film, but it has episodic nature to it. But other than that, it's very fluid, and I think that it actually has really great pacing.
Talk to me about these actors.
Absolutely. Another big concern of mine is that the original actors that played Moe, Larry, and Curly, they're very much instilled in our hearts.
Yes.
My concerns were completely put to rest by the 3 wonderful actors who play Moe, Larry, and Curly.
So we have Chris Diamantopoulos, who plays Moe, who's actually a relative unknown.
And Sean Hayes plays Larry, and you will forget any trace of his character Jack from Will and Grace after you see him in this movie.
Then, of course, we have Will Sasso, who plays Curly from Mad TV.
Okay.
He actually is really kind of perfect
what an
as Curly.
interesting mix.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Was this cast always the original cast, or were they thinking about other people?
No,
No,
it's
originally-
gone through a number of iterations, but the most recent one was...
It was actually Jim Carrey, Benicio del Toro. He was actually in talks, and then the third one was...
Sean Penn.
Yeah.
That would have been a big name cast for the Three Stooges, and instead, I think that what the studio did, what Fox Studios did, was really smart. They went for the 3 actors who could nail the Three Stooges perfectly, and it wouldn't be like you'd be sitting there watching a really famous actor try to be Curly.
And that's actually a really good point, because the whole thing about the guy who's Moe is perfect, because he is Moe.
Look, it's Sandy Claus. Claus. What did I tell you about puns?
This is a Farrelly Brothers film.
Yep, absolutely.
It's right up there with Something About Mary,
Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber.
Well, that is the most interesting part of it, because I saw parts of Dumb and Dumber in this film, and you realize that Dumb and Dumber was probably originally the 2 Stooges, and this is just the natural progression, and you really, really can see it in this movie. It's great.
And the pacing is wonderful in this movie, and they really capture the essence that is the madcap, completely absurd world that is the Three Stooges.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because one of my concerns about this particular film and all of the types of films when Hollywood decides to revisit what's been done in the past is how they will make the film for a contemporary audience.
It's really just in the small things. It's just bringing in things that are, that we experience in this day and age. Like Curly sees an iPhone and he puts it up to his son. He's like, oh, it's an iPhone.
Oh, it's an iPhone.
Yeah, and just simple things like that. And it's just great just to see these characters in this day and age, but still being the Three Stooges.
What is that gadget?
This is an iPhone.
iPhone. Hello? Hello? There's nobody there.
Works better on your ear. Here, come on, everybody.
Where do you think you're going? What's going on?
Smile!
This film is rated PG. Who is the audience for this?
Well, it's
Everybody.
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 Particularly Three Stooges fans, as you can see.
Particularly.
But it's actually for kids.
Yeah.
It's actually really great for kids, and it's not pandering to them.
No.
It's just making jokes that is accessible to them. And it's also the sound effects. The sound effects really help because they're very cartoony.
There's one other thing that you wouldn't think about as a Three Stooges movie, and that is that in addition to the hilarious slapstick humor, Moe has these really hilarious asides or bon mots that he tosses out at people as he meets them. Yeah. And you really have to pay attention to them because it's humor that kind of plays back to you like 5 seconds later that's really funny, that requires you to pay attention. It's not a purely slapstick movie. I mean, that's the shtick that is the Three Stooges. But the writing is very clever, as I mentioned earlier.
Why didn't you say so?
Wow, gee, I'm held in suspense, wondering what your final verdicts are gonna be. Gentlemen, would you take your tickets, please?
The Three Stooges will please fans of the original series as well as bring in new ones to enjoy all the shenanigans. See it.
Hast du gesehen in deinem Leben? Seid nicht mehr Sugar? Go and see it.
That looks like it's 2 tickets then for the Three Stooges, which is a strong see it.
Definite strong. Yeah. Cheers.